Hi guys, I suppose this could be a video reply. I do quite a few, or I have done quite a few toy grade car conversions to hobby grade. There's a few different ways of doing it. One way is to use two ESCs, hobby grade ESCs, electronic speed controllers, one to control the drive motor and one to control the motor that does the steering. And that does work. The other way of doing it is to put a servo, a normal hobby grade servo, on the steering, so you've got hobby grade steering. This is probably a good example of a pretty open air version of doing it. Hobby grade servo there, hot glued and wired onto the framework there, and that actually drives the steering for me. So that was a toy grade converted to hobby grade. I don't normally do them quite like that, but I thought that was a good example that you could see it. So that's a hobby grade servo driving the normal steering controls. Right, so what was I talking about here? Two ESCs. If we take this one apart, this is actually a infrared controlled toy grade car that I converted to toy grade radio control. Probably sounds like I'm rambling it, but it does actually make sense. When I bought this, it should have had an infrared control. A little dome on top would be the one that received the infrared, but I didn't like that. So I put a ordinary 27 megahertz radio control receiver on there. That's the original infrared receiver. Still got the infrared sensor on the top there. And I just diverted the wires from the infrared controller board to the 27 megahertz radio controller board. Anyway, at the front, we have a motor that drives the steering right or left. And what I would normally do would be to fit a servo. I'd take that motor out, fit a servo in there somewhere, and link the arm from the servo to the steering to do a hobby grade conversion. Right, that's a long chat, long introduction, because the conversation I was having with somebody was, why don't we just use the circuit board that's in the servo that drives a small motor just there, and that motor drives left and right via a chain of gears to turn the arm left and right. And the question was, why don't we just use the circuit board that's in there, that circuit board, and connect the wires that go to that little motor? And we pop this out, or is it going to be awkward? It's probably going to be awkward. The motor's going to come out all right, but I don't think the circuit board's going to come out quite so easily, because the circuit board is attached to a potentiometer there that, as the servo turns one way or the other, that potentiometer is turned one way or the other, and the resistance value of that is fed back to that circuit board so it knows how far it's actually turned. So if we're just going to use the circuit board, here's another one. That's the potentiometer with the that bit's fallen out of it. That would normally sit in there, and by turning it one way or the other, you're varying the resistance. So can we just use that to drive the motor, that motor there? Well, this one's actually 40, but it'll give us a bit of an idea if I plug it in. Plug it in there. Turn that ESC on, so we've got some power going into the there. Turn the transmitter on, and you'll see we can actually drive that one. Now, the only problem I got with that is telling it when to stop in the middle so that you've got a car going straight. You can adjust the trim. As I say, the original way that the Servo does it is it actually alters that potentiometer so it knows where it is. This is actually getting quite warm. So bearing in mind it normally just runs that little motor there, and we're using a significantly bigger motor. That one will be the same sort of size as that one. So, yeah, long rambling conversation. I'll turn that one off again. What I'm going to do at the moment is I'm just going to desolder those two wires and solder them directly onto here and just see if we can do the steering. So I'll desolder these wires, desolder those, solder that onto there, and then use that servo controller board to try and control the steering on here. Right, I wonder if my soldering iron's warmed up. Come on. Do it an extra hand. I'm going to burn my fingers doing this. Come on, off. Right, I'll do that off screen because I need an extra hand. I'll also desolder these while we're at it. And we're just going to try this straight in there. So, solder that just directly onto there. Directly onto there. So now, turn that one back on again. Oh, the wrong one plugged in, haven't I? Right, plug that one into there. And you can see we've shot off to the left. So I need to adjust that. Oh, you can't see I'm adjusting that there. I don't think you'll be able to hear it, but it is chattering. But we are actually doing the steering. Now, one thing I have done is I've left the centering pin on there. On toy grade, they have a spring there that automatically returns the steering to the middle. I'll just move the headset, microphone closer. You might be able to hear it chattering away there at the moment. So it works, it's not happy. So it's chattering away and it isn't centering. Now I could adjust that. I wonder if I can do that with a pair of pliers, or whether I can just gently push it round. There, you see, that'll adjust the center like that. I think you can see the steering moving as I'm adjusting that. That's how you tell it's in the middle. So I should be able to turn the trim off on here and adjust the center here. No. Oh, there we are. All right. Oh, it's slowly creeping round a bit. I don't know how long that one will survive, whether it'll overheat. That does feel hot putting my finger on there. But I guess the other thing I can do now is solder the ESC, that one, onto the motor there, and then we can control the forwards and backwards with it. I don't think we're going to use that great big motor battery. I'll find a smaller battery and see if we can run it off something a bit smaller. Tried running it with the existing 3 AA batteries, so 4.5 volts. That's not enough. The ESC is flickering, but there's not enough to actually get it to run. So we'll go and get something else to run it. What we have now is 2 14500 lithium-ion batteries in there, so it's a 2S now. If we put 3 in there, that'd be way overpowered, but 2 should be enough, because we're giving it 7.4 volts instead of 4.5 volts. I expect we'll burn that one out. I need to tidy all that up there somehow. But on the face of it, we've got right and left, and forwards and backwards. So I'll tidy that up and we'll see if we can control it. Right, well, we'll give it a little run. So it works. I'll just see if I can put the cover back on temporarily. Obviously, that's not the finished option, leaving it hanging in the breeze like that. This is just a test to see if it actually works. I'll put some screws in it. Got the body shell back on. Sounds to me like I've actually got a slipping gear there on the gearbox. Oh yeah, definitely. So there we are, a hobby grade conversion using the Servo circuit board to actually control the steering motor. It did feel hot, so I think we may be overdoing it a bit. But it works. I don't know if I can recommend it, but it certainly works. Now you can see the steering hasn't gone back to the center there. Yeah, well that was fun. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and leave me a comment so I know how I'm doing.